Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. All right, let me take a few minutes here and tell you about this class I just took. I'm down here in Louisiana at the Gun Talk headquarters, and of course they have we have a range associated with that. It's called Range Ready. And we're starting to offer some classes. I mean, it's not going to be a gun site or anything like that. It's going to be specialized, small classes now and then. And this one was 16 people in the class. So we did 2 relays, 8 people on the line, and then 8 people on the line, back and forth. And it's interesting when you do it that way. When you're not at the line shooting and you're back behind and watching people shoot, I think you often learn as much doing that as when you're on the line flinging bullets downrange. We had Chris Cerino, who is on the Gun Talk staff, a very experienced competitive shooter and law enforcement trainer, federal and state, trained a lot of people, really good shooter. And Rob Leatham from Springfield Armory, of course, dozens and dozens and dozens of national championships through the years. The guy just is a machine, the way he shoots. It was kind of fun. Most of the time they agreed. A few times they disagreed. And hearing the discussion, they would work it out of, okay, well, why do you do that? Or this is what I do. Or why do you? And it was interesting how they would either work it out and say, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying there. Or they'd say, oh, I see what you're saying. Actually, we're doing it the same way. And that was instructive as well and kind of fun to watch. It was like dinner and a show watching these two guys, because both of them are part stand-up comedian as well as being incredible instructors and shooters. We were using the Springfield Armory Hellcat. It was called the Hellcat Experience, and we had 3 different models. The regular one, which is small, one with a compensator, which is a little bit longer, and then the Hellcat Pro, which is a little bit longer slide and a longer grip. Tried to get those into the hands of people who had very little experience, which brings me to the class. We had people who had a lot of experience and were very good. And then we had people who had very little experience and thought they were very good. Nobody thought they were bad. They just didn't know. I had one gentleman, and I got paired with him, probably so I could keep an eye on him the first day, and just scared the dog do out of me with his gun handling. Lackadaisical, casual. I think that's the word, casual. A couple of times I had to speak to him quickly. And at a certain point, I'm thinking, this guy's just dangerous. Well, he was, but he didn't know. He didn't have any background. He probably should have had some kind of prerequisite course before he got to this. He's putting the gun, first of all, trying to put it in his holster, right-handed, holds his left hand around. You know what I'm saying? He's like got his left hand over by his holster, and he's sweeping his hand with his gun. Okay, and I just kind of very pointedly say, if you do that again, I'm going to pull my knife out and cut your fingers off on your left hand so you can't do it anymore. That made an impression, because sometimes you have to break through the fog that's going on. There's a lot going on. So he stopped doing that. And then I saw him doing something that I've seen other people do, and they're just not thinking about it, and they're not used to holstering. Of course, the whole idea, if you have a holster on your right side, if you're right-handed, when you draw, it should come straight up, and then it should rock forward, the muzzle, so that it's only pointing at the ground the whole way until it gets to the bad guy or the target. If, however, when you're putting it back in the holster, you are unsure about where the holster is, and you're poking around trying to feel for it with the muzzle, and what he was doing was rocking his hand out, pointing the gun barrel toward his guts, like, oh, I think I'll shoot myself in the liver here. And so not only did I see it, the instructor saw it immediately and jumped on that from a safety standpoint. And in a matter of minutes, we had that corrected. The incredible thing was this guy was just not shooting well. It's a 2-day class, and I'm thinking, what are they going to be able to do with this guy in 2 days? Never underestimate what good instructors can do. And they put one of the instructors, because we had 2 or 3 other instructors there as well. They put one of them, just parked him on this guy's shoulder the whole time, second day. At the end of the second day, he's drawing and shooting small groups and just doing really well. I'm thinking, how in the world do they do that? Well, just good instructors know what they're doing. He became not only safe, but pretty darn competent. And he told me, he says, yeah, I'm going to come back. He says, because I know I have a lot of work to do. And I went, man, that is fabulous. That is great. So we had people of all different experience levels there. And we were shooting small guns. So these are harder to shoot. There's just no way around it. Tiny guns are harder to shoot well. They're harder to work the slide on. They're harder to load the magazines on. I mean, just like everything about them is more difficult. And I told a couple of them, my friends who were there, I said, when you get back home and you shoot your gun, a larger gun, you're going to go, wow, I really like this. Yes. Small guns are made to carry. Big guns are much better for shooting, and we all understand that. And somewhere in that continuum between teeny tiny and very large, we find what it is we can use for each purpose. And for carrying, we like the small guns. They're easy to carry. So there it is. These guys really know how to teach. I was so impressed. And they just, in 2 days, they took us so far. We were using red dots on these. And I really wanted to see what I could do learning to use the red dot. On this particular pistol, there's a feature that I like a lot, and that is the slide is milled. Originally, the whole thing was designed to be used with a red dot, so the red dot itself in the window of the optic lines up perfectly with the iron sight, so you can see the iron sights through the window of the optic. That was helpful to me when I was trying to find the red dot, and they would teach us, look, point the gun at the target. Don't just stick it out there and try to find the red dot and then line it up on the target. Point the gun at the target, right in the middle of the target. And for me, I would come in slightly muzzle high. And when I say slightly, like maybe it's probably pointing at the top of the paper. Find the front sight and rotate it down, or just poke it out there and see the iron sights. When I saw the iron sights, I saw the dot. I am probably still faster with the iron sights at this point, but I also have 6 decades of using iron sights. It will take me a while to get there with the red dot. Having said that, the red dot is more accurate. The red dot is much more accurate. It also allows you to simply look at the target. There's no rear sight, front sight target trying to figure out which one should I be looking at. None of that nonsense. You just look at the target, put the red dot on the target where you want it to go. And then comes the extremely hard part, because this is all very simple, but it's also very hard. The hard part is to press the trigger without disturbing where the gun is pointed. You grip the gun well, you aim the gun, and then you press the trigger without disturbing the gun. That, the third one, is the hard part. How many times have you heard me say, trigger, 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 trigger? Everything else will take care of itself for the most part. Once you learn how to build up a good grip, aiming is not that hard. Aiming is not that hard. Can I say that again? Aiming is not that hard. What's hard is to press the trigger and don't flinch. Yeah, I know, nobody flinches. They all say that. I'll tell you that story when we come back.